ESPN, the world leader in motorsports coverage, welcomes you to the I-96 Speedway in Lake Odessa, Michigan for the True Value Great Northern Challenge. It's all part of the S.O.D.A World Series of Off-Road Racing. Hello again, everybody. I'm Marty Reed, and as we head to the final two races in the Pro Series Points Showdown, we have got a classic battle between four drivers. They are separated by 5 points. Walker Evans is on top by 1 over Jack Flannery. With some very consistent finishes, Dave Hockers is in third by 4 points, and Scott Taylor in fourth by only 5 points. Working with me on the broadcast, as always, is Ivan, the Iron Man Stewart, and I guess it's time for these guys to unload both barrels. You can't afford to save anything from here out.
Well, you're right, Marty. If they're going to win this championship, the guys have got to come out here and they got to bring the horsepower. This is a fast track. They got to get serious. No more conservative racing here. Time's running out. They've got to get on the throttle.
Now, would you rather be the man up front, Walker Evans, or would you rather be the guys behind chasing him?
No, I'd rather be up front. I always want them guys chasing me, and I'm sure that's what Walker and the other guys would say the same thing. You want to be out front, you want them guys behind you.
Ivan, you talked about it. This is an extremely fast layout.
It is, Mark. It's a little over a mile track, but one of the interesting things is going to be the start. The guys start on an off-camber, existing sprint car track. This high-speed sweeper off to the right. A lot of action, 80 miles an hour. 3 different 180-degree corners here. Getting loose is gnarly. A lot of action is going to happen right there.
Great combination of speed and corners. You can see the off-camber starting area on the dirt oval. There is Walker Evans. Now, he goes into today's race with a 1-point lead in Class 8. How does that affect strategy?
No, I'm not going to hold back, and I'm not going to be looking back over my shoulder. I'm going to drive that Dodge as hard as I can drive it. I've come to win this championship, and I mean I'm going to win it.
Marty, let's take a look and see what Class 8's all about. 2-wheel drive production pickup. Engine is 600 to 800 cubic inches, 500 to 850 horsepower. Minimum weight of 3,700 pounds.
Now here is the Chevrolet starting field, and there is the man everybody's chasing from Riverside, California, Walker Evans. Jack Flannery from Crandon, Wisconsin, age 40. He'll be in the number 815. Dave Hockers from De Pere, Wisconsin, age 31. He is currently in third in the points. Scott Taylor from Belvedere, Illinois, age 37. One of the pleasant surprises this season, Dan Vandenheuvel from Appleton, Wisconsin. And in Pat Flanagan's number 877 for the first time, John Greaves from De Pere, Wisconsin. We normally see him in 7S. Now, here's the rest of the starting field. And, Ivan, you can see the banking on the dirt track.
That's right, Marty. You'll notice when they accelerate up, you're going to see him slide sideways, I'm sure.
That is Walker Evans with Jed Flannery right in front of him. And that's the suspension cam shot in Scott Taylor's Ford. So we're ready to go racing. The green flag is dropped. And just as you said, everybody's starting to head to the bottom.
Oh, that's Jed Flannery and Brian Donlevy, Marty.
Boy, and they get tangled, and they're tied up, and it hurts Walker Evans. They finally break free, and Evans is going to find himself back in the pack. That's Dan Vandenheuvel up on the high part of the oval, and he spins it all the way around, and he's going to be hurt. And there's Jack Flannery going around. What's happening?
They got up and loosed up, Marty. It's really loose out there. It's really slick. They've really got to watch it.
Boy, and Flannery, he's disappeared. He's off the entire track. Now, this is where they come off the course. Walker is now third, and look at how loose these two corners that we talked about. These are the two 180s at the north end of the track. On board right now with Walker Evans. In front of him is Scott Taylor, and Dave Hockers is currently leading this race. Now remember, Hockers is third in the points. He has not won yet this season in Class 8, but he has been very, very consistent. And now Scott Taylor's gotten around him.
They've got to be aggressive, but yet they've still got to be concerned about the points. But they're driving hard. Watch Walker Evans here. He's coming hard.
So it is right now a 3-truck battle. Hockers is under attack from Walker Evans. Now this is the second of those 180-degree turns that we talked about. Oh, and Taylor has spun all the way around. Hockers got loose, and now Evans is loose.
And that's got so loose out there, they're almost to get stuck.
So that corner has become very treacherous. Brian Dunleavy again, and look at what happens. He spins all the way out and into the barrier.
Well, look at what's happening, Marty, is it's real slick. It's wet up here. Right there where Jack Flannery did the same thing. It's real slick, then it gets real, real loose.
Dan Vandenheuvel, John Conitzer, and Jack Flannery all hung up there. Now Dave Hockers back in front of Scott Taylor. What a win this would be if Hockers could pull this off. But here comes Taylor diving on the outside.
Diving and just driving deeper. But he lost it again back out in the loose stuff.
It is so loose out there. It's very hard for us to describe for you just how loose it is. But these guys can't get any side bite.
That's exactly right. It's tough. It's a very tricky track. You'd think it'd be a relatively simple track. Short, but yet it's tricky as heck.
Notice the consistency of Dave Hockers. Every race this year in the Pro Points Series, he has finished in the top 5. On board again. again with Walker Evans. This is a great three-truck race. They're in the triple jump section. Now remember, they're going to be heading into this corner up here that is under yellow. There are the yellow flags because this is where the spin out occurred last time around with Brian Dunleavy. Everybody follows the pattern, but boy, look how loose this is down here. They're still having trouble.
Well, they're playing it smart. You know, they've learned that how slick it is, and it's loose. You know, it's going to cost them a lot of time to get out in that loose stuff, so they'll be a little bit more careful now, Mark.
Dave Hawkers, Scott Taylor, Walker Evans. That's your top three in Class 8 action. Now this is the battle for fifth. That's Dan Vandenheuvel, Jack Flannery behind him.
Again, that tricky part of the course is loose. Where you see how Jack negotiates that. Dan gets loose. He got way sideways. It cost him a lot of time.
Back to the lead pack. It is still Dave Hawkers leading this trio down into this first of the two 180-degree turns at the north end of the racetrack. This one doesn't seem to be as loose as the other one.
That's right, Marty. But I tell you what, he's got a bunch of horsepower behind him. He better not make any mistakes right now.
Now that is turn 2. They're now heading into turn 3, which is the other 180-degree turn. Off camber here, you can go over if you're not careful.
That's right. Now Scott Taylor's in a particular tricky situation here because he don't want Walker to get by him, but yet he's got to get by. He's got to get out in front and put some time on Walker because Walker will catch him.
John Greaves running Pat Flanagan struck like it hasn't been run all season, trying to take fourth position away from Jed Flannery. And it looks like he's going to do it.
He does, and he holds that tight line. That was a good move.
Back up through the triple jumps. There is Jack Flannery, and Flannery rolls it. Flannery.
He hooked that vert, Marty. He got out there loose, threw it in a little hard, and that's what happens in off-road racing.
So Jack Flannery is out of this race, and it looks as though he's okay as they are climbing out of the vehicle. Let's take another look at it.
He just come in there awfully hard to hit that loose stuff.
We talked about this being off camber, and if you got in there too deep, too hard, you were going to go over, and Jack Flannery, the last guy you would probably expect that to happen to, is the first to take it over. And there is Jack, the taller of the two. That's little Joe Aguirre, his co-rider today. They're both okay, and that's the best news. Now, let's go back to the battle up front. Hawkers, this is the suspension, and take a look at what this looks like. Great shot. I don't know how long the camera will last, but we'll be back for more at the True Value Great Northern Challenge. Stay with us. Class 8 action continues back at the True Value Great Northern Challenge. Marty Reed along with Ivan Stewart, and this is the battle up front. We are still under yellow in this particular corner, and Ivan looks like there's a pass right there by Walker Evans around both vehicles.
Oh, Marty's got to be careful doing that. You can sure get penalized.
Now, if S.O.D.A officials caught that maneuver, we could see a black flag for Walker Evans. We'll keep our eye out for it. I'm sure that Dave Hawkers and Scott Taylor, currently running second and third, are not going to be happy with that maneuver.
I think it was a safe pass, but a lot of times under the yellow, you just can't make a pass like that, Marty. We'll see what happens.
The rule states if the yellow's out, you can't pass until you get past the accident location. There is a pass for second place. Scott Taylor has moved Dave Hawkers back to third. Now they're approaching turn 3. Remember, this is where Jack Flannery went over just a few laps ago. Walker Evans in front. Remember, he leads the Class 8 points championship by 1. John Conitzer is lap traffic in front of Walker, and it looks as though he gets past him safely.
Whoa, where's Dave Hawkers?
Hawkers should be right behind Taylor. Here he comes, but he's got trouble. Look at the left rear suspension, Ivan. It is torn off, and he is going to be out of this race, and this is really going to hurt Dave Hawkers. Third in the points. He had always finished, and here is the man who's fifth in the points, Jed Flannery. He has got a big problem. So Hawkers and Jed Flannery are dropping out of this race, and it's really going to hurt them in the Pro Points Series. In fact, it looks as though Flannery is working the vehicle back towards the pit area, and there he goes. Yes, he will be taking it back for some serious repairs.
Whoa, Scott Taylor's getting aggressive here. But Marty, notice right here how high he is in the groove. He's way out there in that loose stuff, and it cost him a little time. Walker Evans got away from a little bit.
You saw how he got a little bit sideways. Now they're heading down towards turn 2. Dodge versus Ford right now, and a little nudge. Taylor lets Walker know, I'm still back here.
That's good racing. Just enough to say, come on, Walker, let's go, let's go.
Now we've got one stationary left in turn number 3. They're approaching it right now. That is for the rollover of Jack Flannery. Walker Evans in front of Scott Taylor through this corner. Remember, off camber, you get too hot, you're going to go over. John Greaves, look at this.
Oh, he's doing great. First time in a Class 8 truck.
And in third place with Pat Flanagan's Chevrolet, and doing an excellent job running in third. He's running through turn 2 right now and getting through that corner very well. Now this is turn number 4, heading back onto the straightaway, and Walker Evans having to go wide again, and Scott Taylor's closing.
He's got a wobble. Something's wrong with the front of the truck. He's got a flat, right front flat, Marty.
The right front of Walker Evans has gone down. So Scott Taylor has taken advantage, and this could really help him in the points championship. Remember, first place is worth 20 points.
If Walker can hang in here for second, that'll really help his situation. If he can just keep going now.
Now remember, Walker won back at Luxembourg, our last stop. Scott Taylor was second. Right now, those positions have reversed. And boy, Walker is losing contact. Now the question becomes, do you stop and make the tire change, or do you try and fight it through to the end?
That's a decision they've got to make, and I'm sure he's in contact with his radio and his crew. I'm going to guess that he'll just keep going. That's what I'd do anyway, Marty. Just keep going.
Whoa, a big spin by Brian Dunleavy. Now that is down in turn number 1, again on the very fast left-hander that sweeps around onto the backstretch of the dirt oval. There goes Scott Taylor through the screen. Here comes Walker Evans, and now the question becomes, Ivan, is he doing too much damage to the truck? Because look, it's really digging in right through this corner.
That's right. You can take a chance of breaking a ball joint or something now. You got to be real careful.
Oh, no, look at that. That was a big explosion inside the cockpit area of the Dodge of Walker Evans. Let's take another look from inside.
Oh, yeah, there was definitely an explosion there. That had to be a transmission or a motor part or something blew up inside there. That was not the tire.
Take another look and see. It looks like it's back from the engine compartment.
You can even see a piece blown out from underneath the truck. That had to be a big, something really blew up there. Walker's limping. He hurt himself somehow.
Well, if that's a transmission, it could come right up through the floorboard. It could have hit him on the leg. We will check and find out in what kind of condition he is in. But Walker Evans, the points leader, will not be the points leader in Class 8 by the end of this race.
I just saw a puff of smoke coming out of Scott Taylor's truck. Could this open the door for Johnny Greaves?
Well, speaking of Greaves, he's now in second place. This is the best run he's had all year. He's had a horrible season in Class 7S. And taking over Pat Flanagan's truck, he may bring it home in second. And if something goes wrong with Scott Taylor, as Dan Vandenheuvel has got a flat left rear tire as well, he's trying to nurse his truck home to the checkered flag to pick up as many points as possible. There is race leader Scott Taylor. Now he's got to gingerly get around Dan Vandenheuvel. He's got one more turn to negotiate. He's into the triple jump section for the last time.
He'll be extremely careful now. Obviously, he knows exactly what's going on. Walker's out. He's just got to get back to this checkered flag now, Marty.
Last turn coming up. We'll look for the smoke. Does sound rough.
It does a little bit. He's got a little bit of an engine problem, possibly.
So there is smoke in Scott Taylor's truck, but it's going to hold on long enough for Taylor to take the Class 8 championship at the True Value Great Northern Challenge. And he will be a very happy man because he picks up 20 points in the Pro Series Points Championship. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll talk to our winner.
If you were the...
Marty Reed and Ivan Stewart back with you at the True Value Great Northern Challenge. And as you take a look at the final results, a great run in his first race in Class 8 for second place, John Greaves. Let's go down to victory lane with Ivan Stewart and our winner. Ivan?
Scott, that had to be one of the tougher ones of your career, knowing the points race is so close. That should give you a pretty good lead, though.
Yes, we had to figure it out where we had to win the next two. And no matter where Walker finished, if he finished second at both this weekend and 2 weeks from now, we'd be able to beat him. And this was one that we had to win, and now we've got a little bit of a cushion. So we're feeling really good about this one, Ivan.
Well, let's take a look at that cushion in the Pro Series point standings for Class 8 action. Scott Taylor now leads Dave Hawkers by 8. Walker Evans in third with 54. Jack Flannery with 53. And then as we take a look, Jed Flannery drops from 5th to 7th place in the Pro Series point standings. Going to be very, very tough for anybody to unseat Scott Taylor with one race remaining. On board with Jack Flannery as he has now climbed into his Class 4 Chevrolet, and this is the truck to beat in the Pro Series point standings. You can see he has a huge margin over Jeff Dorr. In fact, Dorr must win and hope that Flannery finishes 11th or worse. There is Flannery on the outside of row number 1, Ivan. No pressure today, really.
No, he's pretty comfortable. He should be looking pretty good here, Marty.
He finishes 10th or better. It doesn't matter what Jeff Dorr does. Now, this is what Class 4 is all about.
This is four-wheel drive production pickup. Engine can make 600 to 800 cubic inches, 5 to 800 horsepower. Vehicle must weigh 8 pounds per cubic inch.
Starting field, Jack Flannery in his Chevrolet from Crandon, Wisconsin, the man to beat. Jeff Dorr from Rockford, Illinois, second in the point standings. And third in the points, Kevin Probst from New Lenox, Illinois. The man who's running 6th in the points from Marquette, Michigan is Jack Heitman. He'll be in the 406 today. Gerald Foster. Foster currently 4th, doing really well from Noble, Illinois. Chad Hall makes the long haul from Reno, Nevada. He'll be in the number 411. And here is the rest of the starting field. And with no real pressure on Flannery, what do you think he does? Does he play it safe, or does he go for the win?
Well, I tell you, Marty, if I was on the outside front row like he is, I'd break away, try and get out there, get a good start, and get away from this traffic. I wouldn't want to take a chance of getting hung up with anybody.
Here comes the start, and there is Kevin Probst jumping out in front of Jack Flannery. So the strategy didn't work if that's what he was trying, heading into turn 1. Remember the fast sweeper? We had a lot of spins early in the going Class 8, and boy, with the dust kicking up, it is tough to see coming through that turn.
It looks like they got to do pretty well. Remember, these are four-wheel drive, so it's going to be easier to negotiate that slippery corner, Marty.
Down into the first of 3 180-degree turns. It is Kevin Probst in front of Jack Flannery, and then Jeff Dorr back in the pack right now in 3rd, losing contact with the front 2.
It looks like everybody getting through there pretty well. Even though it's awfully dusty, that can be pretty hazardous.
In 4th place, it looks like Jim Ladiga, and on board right now with Jack Flannery. You are looking at the back end, and look at the mud being kicked up into the face of Jack Flannery by Kevin Probst.
Kevin's been strong. He always starts strong. He looks good. A lot of enthusiasm, a lot of speed, and then he has problems.
The last 2 races, he has finished out of the top 5 because of mechanical problems after finishing 2nd at the first 2 rounds at Lake Geneva and Antigo. Right now, he is opening up a huge lead. Now that is Jack Heitman chasing Chad Hall. Greg Gerlach is in the yellow, number 402. That is 5th, 6th, and 7th on board again now with Jack Flannery.
Kevin pulls away, but watch Jack Flannery as he just drives a little deeper into the corners, Marty.
Getting another face full of mud. Whoa, and looks a little loose through that corner.
It is loose. He just pitched it sideways and off and loose stuff, and look what he's lost.
I'm wondering if he's having a front transfer case problem, because that's not common for a 4-wheel drive vehicle, but he's reeling him in here.
He is. I think he's all right. He just got out there that loose stuff and cost him a little time.
Takes a look to the inside. You're on board with Jack Flannery, but Probst doesn't let him get by. They're into the triple jumps now.
Yeah, this is a good shot of the back of Kevin's car, and I always notice this car bouncing the back. I never did like the way it handles. I need to work on that.
You think that slows it down?
Well, I do. Plus, it's hard on the drivetrain.
Well, he is working his way down into turn number 4 now. Flannery takes a look on the outside. Will he try and tuck underneath? He does. Whoa, Probst gets sideways and pulls over.
He has broken something. Something's happened to his car for sure.
And Jack Flannery goes blasting past Kevin Probst. Could the mechanical gremlins be striking Probst for the 3rd race in a row? What a disappointment that would be. Flannery, all he has to do is finish 10th or better. He's currently leading this race.
He is having an unbelievable year. Ever since Lake Geneva, we finished 3rd. He's won every race out here, Marty.
Dominance has been the key word for Jack Flannery. That is Jim Ladiga in 4th, Chad Schluter in 5th, and they are down into turn 1. And then there is Gerald Foster. In fact, Foster is being pursued by Chad Hall, 4th through 7th, and you'll see Hall right there at the very back of the screen. So these 4 within striking distance of each other, but no one within striking distance of Jack Flannery.
No, he's got a big lead. There's nobody going to catch him, I don't believe, Marty.
This is some great action as we're on board with Jack Flannery at the True Value Great Northern Challenge. Stay with us. We'll be back with more Class 4 action. Marty Reed and Ivan Stewart back with you at the True Value Great Northern Challenge in Lake Odessa, Michigan at the I-96 Speedway. And there is your race leader, Jack Flannery, getting around Bob Bemmels right in front of him. That is 2nd place Jeff Dorr, and Dorr needs Flannery to break to have any chance at the championship.
He really does, Marty, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Jack is just having a great year. It's going to those odds are going to be slim, I'm afraid.
Now there is Ladiga, Schluter, Foster, and Hall still running 3rd through 6th now on the race course. We can tell you Kevin Probst has pulled off during commercial break, so he is out of this race. Back Back on board now with Jack Flannery as he is in heavy, heavy lap traffic, Ivan.
And we're losing parts of a race car right in front of him, Marty. I see something come off.
Now that is Bob Bemmels, so he has yet to get around him. Remember, we saw him trying to pass him through turn 1 before, so he is definitely getting out of the throttle and picking his spots here. Real smart move.
He really is. He wants those points. He knows he's got to finish. If Jeff Doerr's going to catch him, he's going to have to brake, and that's not going to happen. I think he can be real cautious here.
About the only thing that could take him out is if he got tangled up with one of these lap vehicles, and boy, he's just given him plenty of space.
He really is. He's being careful. A lot of dust here, too. I don't blame him. I'd be doing the same thing.
Championship on the line. He could be the first to clinch in the 4 classes that are running for the Pro Series points titles this year in the S.O.D.A World Series of off-road racing.
He's staying down tight. He's right in that black groove. He's trying to get these guys underneath. Why is the way to make it? That's the way to stay out of trouble.
Boy, Bemmels will not move over. Oh, he gave him a little nudge.
He says, here I am. I got to come by now.
Now Bemmels does get out of the way. 2 laps. Oh,
ooh.
And that could have been very dangerous.
He should be careful with that.
Flannery getting a little impatient all of a sudden. Gets into Greg Gerlach on the side panel, but luckily no driver sustains damage. Now Gerlach is running in 7th place, and he has only finished, as you can see, in the top 5 once this year. It's been a long season for Greg.
It has. He's had a tough year. Actually, he ought to let Jack go by. I mean, he's being lapped. He should let him go on by and let him win this race.
Remember, there are no mirrors on board to speak of for these guys to look out, but you can usually sense when someone is breathing down your back.
You know, on these 180-degree corners like this one, he's going to get by him right here.
Flannery gets on the gas. The 4-wheel drive Chevrolet pulls ahead of Greg Gerlach. So now he is finally safely through with 1 lap to go here in the Class 4 championship. Chad Schluter, who earlier won Class 3 action, is doing extremely well, running 3rd.
I did notice on Jack's truck that the grill was getting lots and lots of mud, so he may be kind of watching for an engine heating problem.
Now there is Gerald Foster. He's running 4th behind Chad Schluter, and Chad Hall close behind in 5th. So still some great action going on with 1 lap remaining for the battles for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. But here is race leader Jack Flannery again approaching some lap traffic. That appears to be Jack Heidman, and I bet you he takes his time here.
Yeah, same thing. I'm sure he will, buddy. He's watching the gauges and taking it easy, trying to get back to that checker flag.
This is where you hear every little thing that can possibly go wrong with the vehicle in your mind, saying, please don't be something breaking.
This could be a championship right here if he can make it the checker flag.
So with 1 race remaining, Jack Flannery is going to win Class 4 and the points championship at the True Value Great Northern Challenge. We'll talk to our winner right after this. Back at the True Value Great Northern Challenge, Marty Reed along with Ivan Stewart and Jeff Doer gave it all he could, but Jack Flannery takes the victory for the 4th time in a row this season and the championship. Ivan Stewart's in victory lane with our winner.
Well, Jack, unofficially, I understand this clinches the points championship for you. You've had a fantastic year. Time and time again, we see you go out, maybe not get a fantastic start, but you do the job. You just don't make mistakes. You're doing great. What do you think?
It's a perfect race for me. You know, I just couldn't see the flag guy there. I don't know if I lost position of where he was at or he just wasn't where we could all see him. And the other guys got a little jump on me, but I knew I'd be right up there. And I hit the first jump. I was running 2nd or 3rd and right tight alongside the other 2 guys. And like I told you before, you know, the race isn't won to the first corner. You hang in there, keep your truck clean. I knew I had a good fast truck, and when it started cleaning out, well, then I started to come on up.
Well, Ivan, tell Jack we can make it official. He has a 21-point margin with 1 race remaining over Jeff Doer, and the most you can score in any 1 race is 20 points. So the Class 4 Pro Series Points Championship goes to Jack Flannery. You see the standings on down through 6 through 10. Now those could still change dramatically as we head into our final round, the True Value World Championships in Crandon, Wisconsin. Now we're getting ready for Class 7S, and that is Scott Taylor. Now he is the current points leader in this category. You can take a look. He holds a 17-point margin over Jim Wiggins. Al Walentowski is 3rd with 42. Now we talked about strategy with Scott Taylor before the race.
Today's driving strategy, I've thought about it. These guys are getting a little tired of me beating them, and you know, they're all looking at me saying, what's it going to take? So we've had 4 weeks off. I got to believe they've been working, they've been thinking, they've been tweaking. So have we. We're going to get in that truck and we're going to run it just as hard as we can run it. We've got a point to prove, we've got a series to win, and that's what I'm here to do.
Marty, let's take a look and see what a Class 7 is. Two-wheel drive production, mini or mid-size pickups. Got to be 4 cylinders, maximum of 2.5 liters. They make about 200 horsepower.
Let's take a look at the Chevrolet starting field. Scott Taylor, the points leader and winner of the championship last year. Jim Wiggins in pursuit. He trails by 17 points. And Jeff Kincaid from Crandon, Wisconsin, age 28. He'll be in the 707. Tom Hawkers from Greenleaf, Wisconsin. He'll be in the number 705. Paul Corning from Marytown, Wisconsin. He's also in this starting field and doing very well this season in the points championship. One man who is not is John Greaves. He's in this lineup, but he has had a very tough season in his Toyota. On board right now with Scott Taylor out the front of his Ford Ranger. Green flag drops. Wiggins on the right side of your screen in the blue and yellow 786 gets the jump and takes the early lead. That's Tom Hawkers in second and John Greaves third.
He made a good move. If you watch that start, he got off on the right-hand side and pulled up real well.
On board again with Scott Taylor, and oh, he comes together with Dave Wolf.
I think they come together. It looks to me like maybe Dave came in on him, Marty.
Either that or Scott gets into Dave. Either way, the result is Wolf is spun all the way around, and now we head down as Tom Hawkers tries to make a pass on the outside, and oh, he goes into the barrier, and oh, that is Scott Taylor, the third truck involved.
Well, see, this is that same corner we've had so much trouble with before. It's real slick, and then it goes into the real loose stuff, so he just slid right into him.
And Hawkers having a tough time getting away from Joe Dunlap. Dunlap's the 799. Let's take another look at it.
Well, I tell you what, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's slick, it's real slick. The guys are going way too hot. Boom, right into that wall, and there's Scott Taylor. I tell you, if I were Scott Taylor, I think, Marty, I'd be much more careful than that.
Take a listen here as we look at it again.
Ooh, that was a hard hit, I'll tell you.
I'm surprised he's able to keep going, and boy, what a change that would have been if he would not be able to continue, because Jim Wiggins needs to win this race, and that is John Greaves right behind him.
And John is also aggressive. He's, John, I look for John. He'd take a move on the outside. If he passes him here, it's going to be one good move.
Now remember, Greaves finished second at Lake Geneva, and since then hasn't been able to find the finish line, and he ducks to the inside and takes the lead.
He's the same story. He starts off strong, he's fast, he's aggressive, he's an excellent driver in my opinion. Pitches the truck around real well, but then he has some kind of a mechanical problem. Continually some kind of a little problem comes up and bites him.
Is this a case where he doesn't have the cubic dollars to match the cubic talent that he's got?
Well, in my opinion, it is, really. He could use some more dollars to work with. A little more sponsorship would help, because I think he's got a tremendous amount of potential as far as the driver.
So he may be pushing the equipment a little further than the equipment can handle right now.
That's exactly what I think, Marty. He's got a tremendous amount of talent.
There is Jeff Kincaid. Now he is currently running third and back on board with Scott Taylor. He is fifth with all that damage.
He's got a hood damage, but it sounds like the engine's running well. I think all this stuff is only cosmetic. The engine sounds good. There's no shim in the steering wheel. I think that's all it is, Marty.
Well, he's closing on Paul Corning, who is in fourth, and it looks like he's going to take him.
Yeah, he is. He looks like he moved right to the inside of him. He's coming up to this hard left-hand corner. Let's see if he gets by him.
Well, he's out of sight, and yes, he is well past him, so Scott Taylor's moved into fourth.
The only thing I'd be worried about here, Marty, would be possibly a radiator, oil cooler, something like that.
Well, so far, it looks like Scott Taylor is able to continue in fine fashion at the True Value Great Northern Challenge. There's the leaderboard. Back with more after this. Back at the True Value Great Northern Challenge, Marty Reed along with Ivan Stewart. That is leader Johnny Greaves. But whoa, listen to that sound, Ivan.
He has blown something, or something has happened. Look at the underneath there. Drive shaft flopping around there, Marty. He's got some kind of a drive shaft problem or something.
So the misfortunes of John Greaves in Class 7S continue, and he is out of this race again. While he was up front, it has happened many times. Jim Wiggins takes over the lead. That is Jeff Kincaid in second.
And they're just trying to get through these, you know, these tires here have always worried me a little bit. They try and get through those tires down to this hard left-hand corner. This is a tricky corner again, Marty.
You mean the tires that mark the corner? It's a little bit deceiving from our camera angle, as it looks closer to the course than it actually is because of the depth perception. Now this is down the fast straightaway on the interior portion of the course, heading for turn 3, and it looks like Kincaid is closing.
He is, and he look like they're just protecting the line. He's going to get in the outside, see if he can't get a little bit better drive out there.
Yeah, Wiggins taking the defensive line on the inside, and it may hurt him here because he didn't come off the corner very well.
He lost a little bit of speed. That's the danger, and he's going to And he got by him. That's a good move. That was a perfect move to make in that particular corner.
Passes him on the triple jump, and Jeff Kincaid is your new leader down into turn 4.
He's plenty aggressive. He's going to be a little bit more protective of the line, and let's see how he can do.
Well, there is Scott Taylor, and Ivan the Hood comes flying off. He's in 3rd.
I'm sure he's probably glad to get rid of that. Sometimes it can be real frustrating flying up and down in front of your face there.
And flying through in 4th place through the triple jumps, that was Tom Hawkers. Now there was Jeff Kincaid, and look at the margin between 1st and 2nd place. Wiggins has lost contact.
He has. He's going to have to really get with it if he's going to win this race.
Wiggins 4 times in the top 5 this year in 1993. Boy, he really needs a win, and he needs Scott Taylor to have some mechanical difficulties. Now here's Joe Dunlap and Paul Corning. That's a battle for 4th place, and Dunlap's going to take it.
Pulls around the outside. He gets out in that soft stuff, but he's going to get good drive out there, I think. We'll see if it's sometimes it works for him, sometimes it doesn't. It's starting to dry out a little bit, Marty. I think it's getting to be a better line.
Down the front straightaway in front of the grandstands here at the I-96 Speedway. Whoa! Look out. Tom Hawkers just slides off the course through turn number 1, that fast sweeper.
We see these 2-wheel drive trucks, and again, these are 2-wheel drives. He got out in that loose stuff and slid right off the course.
Now this is Kincaid, followed by Wiggins, and then Scott Taylor off way into the distance in 3rd, and we are on the final lap. So it looks as though the race for Class 7S in the Pro Series Points Championship will go down to the last race of the season, but it is going to be Scott Taylor in command.
But Scott Taylor's made up a lot of ground on these guys. He's really pulled up on them, Marty.
Right now, I'm sure he's going to be very happy to escape with 3rd place points after that crash in the very first lap of this race. Now that is lap traffic in front of our winner, Jeff Kincaid, and Kincaid's going to get the checkered flag right here as he takes the win on the outside to claim the 7S race here at the True Value Great Northern Challenge. We'll come back to talk with our winner and update the points championship right after this. Well, let's check the final results at the True Value Great Northern Challenge in Class 7S. Jeff Kincaid snapped Scott Taylor's 3-race winning streak, taking his 2nd victory of the year, and Ivan Stewart's in victory lane with the winner.
Well, Jeff, you really had the Valvoline Ford really hooked up today. It looked like it was running just fantastic.
Yeah, it run great today. We didn't know what to run for tires today. And we was asking little Joe from Goodyear, and we was asking and asking. Nobody really know for sure. But little Joe set us up with a pair of them. They hooked up pretty good. We got spun around in the first corner here, let them all go, but we got them back right away. They hooked up and went real good.
Well, let's check the Class 7S Pro Series point standings because Scott Taylor holds a 15-point margin now over Jim Wiggins. It is a 2-man race, 15 points. Remember, you get 20 for a victory in each round. So it is going to be up to Wiggins to force the issue at the last round, which will be the True Value World Championships coming from Crandon, Wisconsin. Now, we can't show you all the action today from Lake Odessa and the I-96 Speedway, but we do want to show you highlights from Class 9-10 because the Pro Series Championship in this group is up for grabs between 2 drivers. Unlimited buggies, co-riders are optional. Maximum CC displacement of 1650, and these motors will put out about 150 horsepower. And there it is, Art Schmidt and Jeff St. Peter. Schmidt leads by 8 points in this division with 2 races remaining. This is definitely up for grabs. And when the green flag dropped, it was Todd Addig in the 922, right in the middle of your screen, takes advantage of his front row starting position and takes the early lead. Points leader Art Schmidt got tangled up with Dan Badeau, who hit the tires. That knocked Schmidt out of the race and opened the door for Jeff St. Peter. Now this is Todd Addig, and he had opened up a huge lead over Don Ponder, and the man in 3rd place was St. Peter, and all he could smell was blood because he knew at this point that he had everything to gain just by finishing the race. 4th place, Ken Poole got tangled up with lap traffic earlier, crushing part of his steering. He couldn't turn there, and he runs into the tire barriers. 903, Tom Schwartzberg, the 1088 of Jack Hainland, Greg Ward, all battling for 8th. Schwartzberg and Ward make contact, and Schwartzberg takes 8th place with a very tough inside pass. Jeff St. Peter gets his break and takes over 2nd as Don Ponder can't see very well. The lid on the front of the car comes right up in his face. You can see he's got about 3 inches to see. St. Peter goes on by and now was in 2nd place. Meanwhile, Todd Attic was up front, and he was going to take the checkered flag to win the Class 9-10 championship at the True Value Great Northern Challenge. Here was the way the finishing order stood at the end of the race, with Jeff St. Peter second and picking up 16 valuable points, which would mean, as we take a look at the points championship, it would now be Jeff St. Peter with a 2-point margin over Art Schmidt with 1 race remaining. Now, as we get ready for the Heavy Metal Championship, you know, suspension always plays a key role in all of off-road racing. Ivan Stewart takes a look at the setup of suspension.
Ever wonder how one of these big trucks weighing 5,000 pounds can run 100 miles an hour off an 8-foot jump, come down without completely self-destructing? Let me show you the suspension on these trucks. This is Scott Taylor's Class 8, and he uses a coil spring type of suspension right here. And this is Jack Flannery's truck. You can see this is a coil-over suspension. If the coil spring is wrapped around the shock absorber. Also, you can see this hydraulic bump stop. That compresses as this big truck comes off these big jumps. Gerald Foster's truck, this is a conventional long leaf spring type of suspension. This is the earlier style. This is an older type of suspension. He also uses 4 shock absorbers. And this is John Greaves' Toyota. You can see he uses a torsion bar type of suspension. This bar actually winds up and absorbs that energy as the truck comes off these big jumps. Your truck can have all the horsepower in the world, but if it doesn't handle those 3 jumps on a race course, you're not going to get in the winner's circle.
Now we're getting ready for the Heavy Metal Showdown. Let's go back to Class 8 action, because this is the transmission explosion suffered by Walker Evans in that race. Now, remember, he got out of the truck limping. Here's the reason why. Look at the hole in the floorboard right next to the accelerator pedal. Let's get an update on his right foot.
Well, it's not broken. It's bruised real bad. It's starting to turn black and blue. We're going to make the best of it. I'm certain that it's going to be all right. I'll tell you, it was a scary little deal for a moment, though.
Now, there was a lot of shrapnel flying around in there. Are you going to make any design changes?
Well, certainly. After something like that, we're going to put a scatter shield and a scatter blanket around the transmission. After all, 2 things is better than 1, and I'm going to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
Well, as we look at the requirements for heavy metal, it probably would be a good idea for everybody to have one of those scatter blankets, Ivan.
Well, I agree, Marty. Remember, these engines, some of them turn in the neighborhood of 8,000 RPMs.
Let's get ready now for the Heavy Metal Showdown with the Chevrolet starting field. Jack Flannery, he's the winner in Class 4. Walker Evans is going to be able to make this race. He'll be in the 817 Dodge. Scott Taylor in the Ford. Now remember, 800 numbers are 2-wheel drive. 400 numbers, like Greg Gerlach, are 4-wheel drive. Chad Hall also in this race. He had a good run in the Class 4 championship earlier. Kevin Probst made the repairs after suffering breakage in Class 4 action. He'll make the starting field, as will Jack Heitman from Marquette, Michigan. He'll be in the number 406. And this is a huge field. As we look at the rest of the grid, it's going to be interesting to see what happens through this first turn and down the straightaway.
That's right, Marty. This is going to be a hard one to call because this track is so tricky. There's some good fast corners. There's some tight ones. It's going to be hard to call.
Now that's out the back of Jack Flannery's Chevrolet, and guess who is right behind him? That's right, Walker Evans, out the front of Scott Taylor's Ford, and the back as well.
I tell you what, this is going to be interesting, Marty. Again, this is bragging rights only. They're off.
And that's John Greaves on the pole inside position, but he is not going to take the early lead as he gets a little loose. Greg Gerlach in the number 402, the truck on the outside, and Jack Heitman gets a great start.
That's a perfect example of 4-wheel drive. Whoop, we got a spin already.
Oh, that is Kevin Probst. Will he get collected? Oh, Walker Evans gets held up by him. No contact. But look, it's Probst again, and Walker gets into him that time. Oh, and then Walker gets slammed by another truck.
He just got hit hard. There had to be some damage on that one.
Probst has a flat tire. That is the problem that got him spinning around twice, because Kevin is a better driver than that. But look at this. Next to dead last is Walker Evans. It's going to be interesting to see him work his way through this huge field. Greg Gerlach first, Jack Heitman second, John Greaves third.
Jack Flannery's in there. Jack's up in that race too, Marty.
Right, he's in the 5th position right now. Oh, look out. That looks like Johnny Greaves. He gets sideways and touches the wall. Not serious, though, on the damage. On board now with Scott Taylor down the front straightaway.
What's really a shame is Walker come all the way up from Riverside, California. He had a horrible first race, and now he gets knocked back to the back of the pack. That's a shame.
Out the back of Jack Flannery's truck, he has just taken over second place as he has moved around Jack Heitman. So Jack Flannery seizing the opportunity to get ahead of both Scott Taylor and Walker Evans, his chief rivals.
Keep in mind now, Jack Flannery has 2 trucks, a Class 8 and a Class 4, and he always opts for that 4-wheel drive.
I wonder why. That truck has been dominant all year long in its class, and with the 4-wheel drive, it is a definite advantage, especially coming down into this last turn, turn 4. We've seen how loose it has been for the Class 8s, and watch how well the Class 4s get through.
Well, the biggest thing you're going to see, here's a perfect example of the acceleration of that 4-wheel drive.
Boy, he just gets around Greg Gerlach, and now Jack Flannery from Crandon, Wisconsin, is in the lead. There is Jed Flannery. He is in 6th, and he looks like he's having a little bit of a problem. Now, remember, he's 2-wheel drive.
He's 2-wheel drive, and he's back there struggling.
Oh, no, and Walker Evans was 10th, and all of a sudden gets hung up on one of the tire marker barriers that marks the inside part of the course. This is a battle for 7th. Scott Taylor in the heat of it. He is now around, that's Jamie Flannery, in the 8:15. So Taylor has moved into 7th.
He got out in that loose stuff, and it looks like Jamie might get him back here.
Boy, the action back in the pack is fast, and it is furious. On board again with Scott Taylor. That's Jeff Dorr that he just gets around for 6th, and Jed Flannery in front of him for 5th.
Lots of traffic. Hard to get around here, Marty. This type of a course is really hard to pass if the guy stays in line.
And that's Jeff Dorr getting back around Scott Taylor, so he has been dropped back a position.
Jeff Dorr again, 4-wheel drive. Until the track dries out a little bit more, it's going to be a 4-wheel drive advantage.
Take a look at this rundown. Some of the greatest names in off-road short course racing, and they are leaning on each other through this race. Walker Evans currently 9th. We'll keep you posted on his race back up through the pack.
Look at the traffic, Marty. This is some big iron to be maneuvering between these obstacles. This is a good racing.
And the dust is really beginning to kick up. Oh, Scott Taylor gets hung up. There's Walker Evans breathing down his backside.
Well, let me tell you, Walker Evans is moving up. He's already right up behind Scott Taylor.
This is some great action as Jed Flannery is trying to hold on to position. That is 3rd position for Jed. There's Jeff Dorr trying to sneak underneath Chad Hall.
And you notice the 2-wheel drives, how sideways they get.
Boy, down this back straightaway, look at Dorr trying to find a way to get around Chad Hall. Scott Taylor ducks to the inside underneath Hall. Can he make it stick? Remember, he's 2-wheel drive. Hall tucks back underneath him. Oh, what a great pass by Scott Taylor to move into 3rd.
He did make a good pass. He's got to be much more tighter. He can't afford with 2-wheel drive to get out there in that slop and that loose stuff.
And back in that pack is Walker Evans. See the blue and white Dodge? Remember, he was 19th. Oh, no. And Jeff Dorr gets spun around. That costs him a couple of positions. That helps Walker Evans' quest. And Walker, 19th. Now, look at this. He is currently in 6th. Unbelievable comeback after that lap 1 spin.
Well, Marty, he's on the warpath. Like I say, he's come all the way from Riverside, California. He wants this win in the worst way.
Well, right now, you're on board and getting a look at the venerable veteran from Riverside as he has moved in to striking distance here at the Heavy Metal Championship of the True Value Great Northern Challenge. Stay with us. The True Value Great Northern Challenge, that is Scott Taylor. We're on board, and that is a battle for the lead with Greg Gerlach, and it looks as though the Ford of Scott Taylor has gotten around Gerlach.
I think he has. He has, Marty.
Look at how much dust that these guys are having to cut their way through, and look who is in 3rd place, getting ready to take 2nd. It is the venerable Walker Evans. What a comeback this would be.
Well, absolutely. I'll tell you what's happening, Marty, is this track is starting to dry out a little bit and starting to lean towards the 2-wheel drives now.
Take a look at this straightaway as they head down for turn number 3. It is Taylor first, and Walker Evans trying to shoot past for 2nd place. Oh, he gets into the fender. Not intentionally, I'm sure, because he kicked up there just momentarily. No major damage for either vehicle, but he does take the position.
I tell you what he's got. He's got his sights on Scott Taylor. He wasn't too concerned with Greg Gerlach, but he wants Scott Taylor. He wants this win, I'll guarantee you.
Out the back of Scott Taylor, and we're watching Walker Evans close up on the Ford. It is Dodge versus Ford at this point. Look at the action going through turn number 4 as he kicks up a lot of dirt.
Look at the amount of dirt coming out the back of that truck, and that goes right under Walker Evans' radiator, remember.
1 lap to go. Can Walker Evans pull it? Oh, Scott Taylor's high.
Ooh, you don't see this very often. If he gets out there and loses much time, Walker's going to get him. 1 lap to go, Marty.
Down the back straightaway. This would be a comeback from 19th position by Walker Evans if he can pull it off.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Marty, he better not make mistakes. Walker Evans got his sights on him.
Oh, and Scott Taylor goes wide, Ivan, just what you were talking about, a mistake, opening the door, and Walker Evans on the final lap has taken the lead in the Heavy Metal Championship. Taylor's pulling out all the stops. These guys are flying into turn number 3.
Look at the damage on Walker's truck. But I tell you what, if anybody could do this type of a drive, Walker Evans, I've seen him do it in the past, unbelievable.
He is pulling away from Scott Taylor. He is going to win the Heavy Metal Championship with 1 turn remaining. He makes the turn down in 4, keeps it under power. Look at Taylor trying everything he can, but it's not going to work. From 19th position in lap 1 to the winner's circle, Walker Evans in the Dodge takes the Heavy Metal Championship at the True Value Great Northern Challenge. What a comeback and what a show as he spins it around for the fans down into turn number 1. That is one happy driver, and a standing ovation by a lot of the crowd here at Lake Odessa, Michigan. Stay with us. We'll talk to the winner next. Well, let's take a look at the final results at the True Value Great Northern Challenge Heavy Metal. Walker Evans, can you believe it? Started 19th after getting tangled up, ends up beating Scott Taylor and this huge field. Let's go to victory lane with Ivan Stewart.
Walker, you told me earlier you're going to drive like a man possessed, and by golly, that's exactly what you do. What a great drive.
Well, I had it going the other day in the Class 8 thing, and, as you know, the transmission blew up, and we came through that unscathed, and I had to come back to prove something today, and the big Dodge got it done.
Well, let me tell you, did it ever. What did you think your odds were when you got sideways back over here in turn 1? What are the odds of winning this race? What do you think?
Ivan, you've been there, and I mean, when you got 4-wheel drives up front, scratching, I mean, they got twice the traction you've got. Here you come out of the corner dead last, and you got your work cut out for you. But I didn't give up. I mean, that's the key to the whole thing. You just drive hard, hope everything stays together, and give it your best shot, and it paid off today.
Well, it certainly did, and our congratulations to Walker Evans, and our thanks to all the racers for putting on a spectacular event for this crowd here at Lake Odessa at the I-96 Speedway at the True Value Great Northern Challenge. For Ivan Stewart, I'm Marty Reed. Thanks for joining us today. Remember, we still have one more round in the Pro Series Points Championship in the S.O.D.A World Series of Off-Road Racing. It'll happen at the True Value World Championships. Join us then as we go off-road racing for the last time in 1993. So long for now.